I guess I'm going to continue on with this paper. It's probably going to be like a 5 or 6 series, 15-minute videos because I like to go through and take my time and talk about this as I'm reading it. Um, so I was in the part where it says sub-themes addressing how professionals' lack of understanding of mental health and autism acts as a barrier for people to get the appropriate treatment and support that they need. One person said, I felt like I was having a breakdown inside, but I didn't know how to make the inside feelings show to other people. I feel like I have that problem too at times. I don't know how to express myself or express um like if I'm in an emergency situation, I don't know how to like convey the seriousness of the problem. And especially during the COVID years, when I was trying to take care of my mom, um, it was so difficult because I didn't, I was, I just, I was over my head trying to take care of her. I was so overwhelmed. And when it's somebody that you love and that you care about and you see them suffering, and you're trying to get the help that you need, that they need, um, like I was having a hard time telling trying to tell my sisters what was going on because I was just so tired because she couldn't walk. I was having to lift her up out of the bed and help her because I didn't have her house wasn't wheelchair accessible. I had to put her on her walker, which had a seat, wheel her over to the bathroom and the toilet and help, pick her up and put her onto the toilet. It was just, and I've got back problems. It was really hard. And then it was right after, well, she had fallen and then she was improving. And then all of a sudden she did a 180. She completely reversed. Um, it was really strange how she was improving. And then all of a sudden it was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was so devastated. Anyways, um, yeah, right here. Communication difficulties were exacerbated further when in crisis and in an unfamiliar and noisy environment such as a hospital. Oh God, help us. Hospitals are my least favorite place to be. So this person says, I can't always communicate if I'm in a crisis. Me, me too, as well. So continuing on, ward rounds in the hospital would always be awfully stressful for me, having to talk in front of a room full of people. So our meetings with my psychiatrist, I feel comfortable with my care coordinator now, and she has learned to do things like ask me direct questions rather than open ones, but not everyone is so accommodating. And that's a female who wrote that or said that. Oh, here's another one. This is under the gaslighting. Not believed or listened to. When seeking professional help for mental health problems, many participants felt their symptoms were discarded, dismissed, you know. And here's a female. With insight, a massive barrier was that I just don't show emotion the way other people do. So aside from when I was very, very anorexic, no one believed there was anything wrong with me or that I needed help. There are specific things depressed people are supposed to do, but I don't do them. So we don't act like neurotypical people do. I mean, so when people are mental health professionals are looking for signs, typical signs in neurotypical people, they don't see them in us. That's why we need specialists to help us. And not every person is the same because we have cofactors. Like I have both autism and ADHD. I knew I had ADHD a long time ago because I got Dr. Daniel Amen's books and read through them, and um, I said yes. I clicked off on so many of the things that he was saying about in them. So, and then I also have family members that have ADHD. My dad was never diagnosed, but he believed that he had ADHD, and I'm sure he had other things like uh, narcissism in there, but and so then I also have something called agoraphobia, and that developed later on in my life because I didn't have a problem with, well, maybe I did, and I just didn't know it because I'll have to think about that some more. I think I actually did have it all my life. It just became even more apparent as I got older, and it's become more of a problem for me. And if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. It's called agoraphobia. Um, so let's see. Other participants described being not believed and told to go away. Oh my gosh. These experiences unsurprisingly led to loss of trust towards professionals and services for some. However, not all experiences were negative. For example, one participant used contrasting experiences to demonstrate the power of being listened to and not being prejudged. Um, so here's a male person. I have had my share of ineffectual medications and therapies, including ignorant psychiatrists and counselors who made things worse rather than better because they seemed to decide what the problem was and what was best without actually listening to me. However, I have also had some very good counselors and GPs who have listened, been good at talking to me in a way I can engage with, and worked with me rather than simply talking at me. Um, Continuing on, the next part is not suited to my needs, which um, I guess that means that the care that they're being offered and given didn't suit their needs. their particular needs. So here's somebody that was a female. NHS counseling is good for people who can immediately connect to another person. If you have autism, it takes time, and by the time you are starting to make some kind of a connection, you run out of sessions. Yeah, so um, we don't warm up to people immediately because all our lives we've been we've learned to not trust people, so it takes time to build trust and build rapport. So then when we do connect with somebody who is a counselor or therapist, um, they run out of sessions. So they don't get, that happened to me when I was taking care of my dad. A therapist came to talk with me, and try to help me through my emotions of feeling isolated and you know particular things dealing with having to take care of him because I felt like I couldn't go anywhere because I had to be here all the time. And then my family weren't offering to come, spend time with my dad so that I could, take a nap or go on a walk or go out and go shopping, whatever, go to the library. No, nobody ever offered that in my family until he was on his deathbed. And then they finally, you know, um, two of my brother, well, can't remember if my sister, two of my brothers came, thank God, because I just couldn't, I was so tired. Because he wouldn't sleep. He kept getting up and falling, and for some odd reason, it was the weekend, so I was having trouble getting any help from um, hospice. They don't come out on the weekends. So anyway, let's continue on with this. Um, Here's another person. I guess I'm quite dependent upon the support now, and when I am better enough to be discharged from mental health services where I receive most of my support, I will feel very alone. So that's sad. Lack of understanding of autism also played out in experiences of treatment and support that were not necessarily fit for purpose, um, such as receiving cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, for mental health problems. Ex- Experiences were not homogeneous. Some participants argued that CBT was not an effective treatment. Um, I've heard that before for people who have autism. They don't do well with cognitive behavioral therapy, and um, I was going through that with one of my therapists a long time ago, but I don't think I was in it enough to really figure out if it helped me or not. um, Anyways, however, many argued it was not particularly if it was not adapted to their needs. Here's another person who's a female. I had communication issues with each therapist because they expected me to be neurotypical, so I would take things too literally, and they thought it was a defense mechanism, or I tried to explain meltdowns and they focused on my thoughts rather than how to deal with overreactive sensory perception.